Howdy, folks, and welcome back to Reading Held Hostage. My name's Blue, and
I'm Justin.
No, I didn't finish my thing. My name's
I'm
Blue,
Justin.
and I love to read.
I'm Justin.
And what do you like? Do you like to read?
No.
But we have to read now. Not for us anymore. Not for the podcast. For our baby.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't like to read out loud. Even though I can talk out loud, I don't like to read out loud. But
Yeah,
for
you
some
can talk
reason,
out loud.
For some reason, it's like good for their language development and all that crap. So
What dumbass.
I guess we'll do
Like,
that.
learn how to speak.
Just learn how to read too. Like honestly,
Yeah. Learn how to read
it's
and
not
speak.
that hard.
I
mean,
can
Justin,
read and speak.
Well, you can speak. She's got some serious noise to make. Today, Justin, we're following up the Divergent series
Oh no.
with the second book, Insurgent.
I have an idea.
Yeah?
What if we don't?
Well, usually after the first book, you do read the second book.
Yeah,
much
but
to
we
my,
could
I had to read it.
kind of curb everybody's expectation and
Just
not.
stop doing it. No, it's bad. I don't know. I know this book came out like the same time Hunger Games, Twilight, the craze of those were all going on. But this book is just so bad
The
compared
YA
to all of them.
dystopia craze.
Well, yeah, but this is YA dystopia romance.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so bad. Because the romance aspect of it.
Dystopians.
Yeah. I think I just said that. So are you going to just repeat what I say this whole podcast?
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I do not like this one in comparison to some of the other ones. And again, I love dystopia. I'll be honest, I love romance. But this is not the vibe. So tell me what happened last time. Just like quick recap the whole book.
Okay, so they did the sorting hat, jumped into a pit, some lady died.
Some lady died. Oh, Beatrice's mom? Who's the lady that died?
The training people.
Oh, off the...
Yeah, train.
Yeah. Keep going.
What else?
You got the first quarter of the book.
Did mind control. Mm-hmm. Can't mind control.
Yeah, she's divergent.
The virgins. You can't mind control those virgins.
Cannot.
And Stinky's biting your head.
It hurts. Yeah, so I see you remembered a lot that happened.
And the lawyer people are bad.
The erudite. And remember Trish shot her friend in the head.
Bang.
Bam. Tobias and Triss are, they're kissing, and they're boy and girl.
Ugh.
Oh, sorry, girl and adult man.
Girl. I want to see boys.
I want to see men. So there's that, and yeah, the war started. A lot of the abnegation are dead. You didn't really say any of this, so I'm kind of feeling like maybe you didn't really remember what we talked about last.
No, I try to block it out.
Yeah, you get to block it out. I don't. But yeah, so that's what happened last time. So Stinky has stopped biting my hair, so that means we can get into the first bit of the book.
Stinky start biting her hair again.
No, Stinky, no! How'd you do that? How'd you make him do that? So we immediately start with her recapping that she killed Will, and her having like a PTSD moment about it.
Again, why'd you aim for the head?
Literally, like, yeah.
Why did you blast the soul out of the motherfucker?
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's ways, like, she could have, like, had, like, rammed, like, done something to incapacitate him, like, hit him in the arm or something like that. Oh, Stomp just stepped on the room. Anyways, she's having really bad dreams about it, as you would if you killed your friend.
Yeah.
Point blank,
Blew his
headshot.
fucking brains out, yeah.
Which I think we need to think about how bad that is in general. Like, this book is really violent.
Yeah. How horrifying that would be.
Yeah. And they're just like, bleh. I mean, like, she obviously has really terrible repercussions from it. She actually isn't able to pick up a gun till, like, the last sixth of the book.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but still, it's like...
Because here's the thing about shooting someone in the head. It doesn't stay together.
No. No, and we don't know what kind of bullets they were using, but it's safe to say they're not the fun, friendly kinds of bullets.
Because he's dead.
Yeah, because he dead. But remember, she's with Caleb, Tobias and Tobias's father, Marcus. And it's her. So we're on the same night of the attack. What?
I just thought of the vine. I won't hesitate,
bitch. I actually have heard that vine is about this book.
Really? Why do they have the balloons in their shirt?
They end up at the Amity compound. Do you remember Amity?
Wait. Political boys.
Farmers. There's only 5. It's not that complicated. Like, get your head around it.
Again, I'm trying to block as much as I can out. I only have limited space up there. I cannot.
Limited space. I don't, apparently, because at least not when it comes to books, because sometimes I'll just, like, be thinking and I'm like, oh, this is a book I read when I was, like, in 4th grade, and I'm like, okay, freak ass. Anyways, Amity doesn't have, like, a leader. Like, they don't have, like, how Marcus was a leader of abnegation and things like that. Amity doesn't have one of those. But they have, like, more like an elder.
A council.
Yeah, kind of. And her name is Johanna. Joanna?
Do you think this girl's stretches are picking up on the mic?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah, if you hear baby noises...
It's the baby, not
baby.
Justin,
Yeah.
secretly making baby noises.
It might be me sometimes.
I don't think it is, though.
But who knows? You're not watching... We don't videotape these, baby.
It's true, thank goodness, because we do not look very pretty right now.
We don't
Although
edit.
we've both...
We don't
edit
We don't edit enough
a little bit.
for video.
No, we do not. Johanna's not the leader, but she's like the ones who's there to greet them. And she's familiar with Marcus, and she's like, you guys can stay the night, but the whole community will have to vote on you being able to stay long term. So
fucking commies.
Fucking commies. Triss, remember she was shot in the arm, in the shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like she could have done her friend.
No comment. She gets a special magic healing salve that's supposed to make her wounds heal faster. Because there's always a salve that does that in dystopias.
Yep.
They're like, well, fuck, we injured the main character. We can't really, like...
We don't want to give anybody rights, but we have figured out medicine.
Yes. We've got that one down. So they all get led to separate room, and that's when she freaks out and has, like, some pretty bad PTSD from the attack that just happened. And I'm sure you recall in great detail that she has the SD card with all the data from the simulation that just happened.
Yep. Cool.
Okay,
yep.
So you tell me about it.
They simulated stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she hides that. And Tobias comes in and is like, hey, BT dubs, Amity's deciding our fate.
Why hides it?
I don't know.
Just fucking destroy
Well, just
that
in case
shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
what are you going to use it for?
Yeah. Hey, the Erudite did this. Okay, yeah, we were all there. Everybody was there. It's a really small.
Yeah, we don't need to know how it happened.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be better if no one remembered how it happened, so we can't do it again.
Yeah. She talks to Susan, who's an old friend from Abnegation, and Susan's like, dang, it's just like a shame that everything like this happened. Like, our leaders were onto something super wonderful. And Triss is like, but what is it? What was it? And she's like, I have no idea. And then Triss is really dramatic and cuts her hair real short, which I've never experienced.
Flicks hair.
After voting, Caleb talks to Tobias.
Are you going by Toby now?
No. But Caleb's like, hey, aren't you a little old for my sister?
Makes...
So, ew.
Yes.
So, other people in the universe are acknowledging it.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, the way the Amity vote is they're like, here's the situation, and then they break off into groups. And then each person from, like, the group with a different opinion goes up and they talk about it. And it's, like, it's weird. But they end up deciding that since they have good relationships with both with all Dauntless, Abnegation, and Erudite, they're gonna just... neutral. No, they don't. They're just not gonna get involved. But there are rules, like everyone can come vibe with them at their faction, but no weapons and any conflict, and people will be asked to leave. Later that day, Triss stalks Joanna and Marcus in the garden, and she hears them talking about how abnegation was onto something big. And Marcus does know why they were attacked, but he doesn't say it. Just says they were entrusted with some serious information a while back. And it's really important that this was super serious information.
Cool.
Yeah. She talks to Tobias and she's like, Tobias, this is what's going on. Like, I think Marcus has something to do with all this. And he's like, Marcus is a liar. He's a liar and a bad person. And he's making shit up to seem more important. And Triss is like,
Okay.
I mean, like, I don't think that's true, but, like, I get where you're coming from. He did beat the shit out of you. Mm-hmm. And all that.
Marcus is Macklemore.
No, Marcus is Tobias's dad.
Oh, okay.
She thinks something's going on, and they're like, okay, we have to go back to the city to take Erudite down. And we also have to find out what Marcus was talking about.
Yes.
In the next few days, we just, like, learn that, like, Erudite is really important. They do a lot of science and shit like that. It's pretty boring. And, Caleb and her talk about how she's divergent, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy that you have an aptitude for 3 different things. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, just 3.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Erudite, abnegation, and dauntless. Mm-hmm. And Marcus talks to Triss and is like, we need to get back to the city to our faction. And they decide to leave the day after tomorrow.
Marcus Porcus.
There's a lot going on, but it's like all filler stuff, and it's kind of boring, TBH. She continues to stalk Marcus and confronts him about what he said, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you. And she's like, well, can you at least tell me if my father would have risked his life for it? And he's like, yeah, 100%.
Is her dad and Marcus buds? Yeah,
her dad was another leader of abnegation.
Okay. He dead now.
And she's able to guess that, yeah, you're right, that Jeannie now has the information and they want it back. And she's like, I can help. And he's like, I can do this all by my lonesome.
We got this.
No problems. That night, she has a PTSD situation and goes to Tobias for comfort. And they get really frisky.
What the flick?
But decide not to sleep together. And when she goes back to her room, Peter is there, and he's stolen the SD card. So Triss beats the shit out of him,
Radical.
Which is no bueno for Amity. And so, people in the Amity grab her and follow. They take her and basically give her a serum that, like, makes her drugged up and happy. What?
Codeine.
Tobias confronts Joanna about this, and she's like, yeah, sorry, they must have just given her a lot of it. And they're like, why'd they give it at all? And they're like, that's just what we do. Also, don't eat the bread if you don't want to be exposed to that.
So they're just high.
Yeah, they're just high as fuck. And after the serum wears off, Tobias has the SD card now. And he hides it again. And,
Again. Why keep it?
I don't know, man. She sneaks off into the trees, Triss, because she's so embarrassed for her behavior when she was on that drug. And she can hear cars, and the Erudite are there for her. And them, I guess. And they hide in plain sight, but, basically they get caught. Yeah? What's that?
To just hit a pose
Yeah.
and stay still?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like T-Rexes.
Well, if you're not divergent, you wouldn't have been able to see them.
They're like T-Rexes, though.
And during, like, the fight that happens, she doesn't even, like, grab a gun. Like, she's, like, frozen because she has PTSD. Mm-hmm. And,
But she can beat the shit out of the innocent.
Yeah, well, it's just guns that are the issue.
Yeah.
They start running, and, when they stop, Tobias and, like, fucking goes off on her about how useless she was during that fight. And she's like, okay, like, I don't know what you want from me.
Yes.
And now their group, which consists of Susan, Caleb, Triss, and Tobias, are kind of the only ones left, and they're like, I bet everybody else is dead. How many chapters do you think that was?
3.
7.
Jesus.
I condensed.
How slow was this book going?
Yeah. Really slow. Okay, so they're on the train, and on the train is a group of factionless folks. Luckily, the man...
Disgusting.
Right? Gross. Holding the gun. Do you remember Edward?
Is he one of the dropouts?
Yeah, he's the one Peter stabbed in the eye.
Oh, yeah.
And, they're like, Edward's like, OMG, hey, I totally know you guys. And he's like holding it again. They're like, yeah, so like, can you put that gun away? He's like, no. And Tobias is like, well, my name is Tobias Eaton. That's his last name, Tobias Eaton.
Cool name.
And they're like, wow, you're Tobias Eaton? We know somebody who's been looking for you. Who do you think?
Tobias eating these nuts.
Okay, who do you think's looking for Tobias?
Hey, just laugh at my funny joke.
I just did. Who do you think's looking for Tobias?
His dad.
No.
His girlfriend.
No.
His mom.
Yes.
Nice.
So
Third time's a
his
charm.
dead mom, by the way, who we think is dead right now.
Dead mom.
So the factionless are like in like a housing area together, which is
Well,
like.
she's factionless, so as good as dead, really.
But the fact that they're like together and organized is shocking to them because they're supposed to be like desperate and like separate, like homeless folks, people experiencing homelessness, but they're organized. And Edward brings them to the leader, who's like, hey, so glad to see you guys. My name is Tobias's mom, Evelyn. And Tobias is like, fuck you. And they have a little fight where she's like, the factionless are twice the size of Dauntless. Because the Dauntless end up actually kicking so many people out because only 10 of their initiates make it. Mm-hmm. Triss and him talk. And he's pissed at Triss, or at Evelyn, his mom, because she had to leave due to an affair. Because Marcus also abused her physically. Mm. But he's mad at her because when she left him with his dad.
Yeah.
So
but you gotta think about, at the time, she didn't know that the factionless were, like, chill.
No, she's the one who set up the factionless like this.
Okay.
And
so
I think
they
when
weren't chill like
no, and when she left, I don't think Tobias was being abused physically.
Yes.
So I think later she's like, I didn't know he would try like do that to you. I thought you were safe, and he was like, well, I wasn't. And you didn't even check on me. I get both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a good situation in there. But again, it's kind of just like pushed to the side, and it's like, who cares? Like, oh, Tobias is sad. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's kind of a bigger situation.
Radical childhood trauma. Let's move on.
Yeah. They're invited to stay, and they're like, dang, we should like be friends with the factionalists. Like, this is kind of nice. And during like I said, we learn that most of the factionalists are from Dauntless, then Erudite, then Candor, very few from Amity, but none from Abnegation. And
because they kiss. I mean...
So, do you remember last book how there was, like, very few, like, older Dauntless? Like, older, mid to late aged Dauntless?
Yeah.
That's because when their bodies start giving up, they're given the opportunity to become factionless or die.
Radical.
And a lot of them choose to die. We learned that more than half the Dauntless have sided with the Erudite, other half are with Candor, and Abnegation is with the factionless. It's so much plot, and it's not even good.
Yeah, you're yapping over there, dude. I have no
I know.
clue.
I'm yapping, and it's only been 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm bored. Anyways, we have such a fun podcast. She overhears a conversation between Tobias and his mother, and she learns that the Abnegation had been documenting the Divergent in the factionless sector because a lot of the factionless were Divergent. And she's like... Are.
Okay.
Sorry, just past tense. And she's like, think about it. How else, like, they don't fit in, so of course they'd end up factionless. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, Tobias, BT Dubs, Evelyn is, so sorry I left you with your dad. And he's like, shut the fuck up. And then she's like, okay, well, I tried. We want to usurp Erudite, and I want you, Tobias, to help me create a world with no factions. But he's like, no. And then comes back to...
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Comes back to Triss and falls asleep. So now we have a new plot coming through. Right now, we've got Triss is Divergent. Mm-hmm. Cool. Very strong Divergent.
Divergent.
We've got Eurydice wants some, or Eurydice has information that Abnegation has.
Okay.
And Marcus knows what this is. We've got the factionless are grouping up and want a world with no factions. Yeah. That's where we're at, right? Those are the three main. And then there's a bunch of little ones.
Radical.
Yeah. Triss ends up spending time with Evelyn and learns that...
How is Dauntless not the smallest
faction?
I
don't know. They kill
only
everybody.
take 10 and they kill people, their older people.
Yeah. I have no idea. Basically, Triss learns that her father, Jeannie, and Evelyn were all Eurydice people before, and they hung out as kids. She's like, this is cool, and then she's like, threatens Evelyn about how trying to use Tobias is not cool. Which, can you imagine your estranged son's 16-year-old girlfriend, who's, again, the size of a prepubescent teenage child, is threatening you?
Why do we don't talk to my boyfriend like that?
Why do we knock it off? Triss and Tobias end up going to the Candor headquarters and are immediately arrested upon arrival.
Cool. Because
Candor had only seen a video of them running the simulation. They didn't see anything else. Do you remember Candor?
Those are the lawyer boys, right?
Yeah, the truth sector. So they're like, yeah, don't even tell us what you think because we're just going to give you a lie detector in front of everybody. Like a truth serum. Mm-hmm. And they're reunited with all their friends.
I'm going to give you some LSD and smash some pots around your head. See how you do.
You're not that far on, no. They reunite with Christina, Uriah, Lynn, Marlene, a bunch of her friends from Dauntless made it. Tobias gets his simulation serum in front of everyone and starts getting questioned.
They really like their serums in this dystopian, don't they?
I know. And the thing is, what do you think, if you had to guess right now what's so special about the Divergent, what would you guess? Like, what makes them different? It's not like a regular dystopia or like
they're
fun.
Autistic.
You scared the baby.
You.
It's not like they're like, they have magic powers or something. Like, what do you think about them is different?
Autistic.
Is that your gander?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's it. Basically, I think we learned in this book that their brain just a little different.
So they're autistic.
I mean, they're not. It just pisses me off. It's so like... Honestly, it's such a boring plot.
It's such a nothing plot.
It's such a nothing... Like, they're like...
Oh my god, she's divergent. That must be so important.
It's like, her prefrontal cortex is kind of big.
That's autism, though.
Well, what pisses me off is this whole second book is like, it's so important to be divergent, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, the third book is like, here's the actual dystopia part of the plot. And it's like, wait, that's the last book.
I love it.
Yeah, we're just going to keep blasting. Honestly, we might do this whole book in this one chunk. Tobias is like, hey, BT dubs, I'm divergent in the truth serum. And everyone's like, that's crazy.
I'm divergent.
Well, it's like hearing that, like, he's like a fable, like a story from something you tell your kids, like, can you believe there's divergent among us? And they're like, no, the divergent is going to get us. Mm-hmm. It's like, really?
I'm the Babadook.
Triss's turn, she fights the serum, like she's actually able to fight it, but she ends up letting everybody know that she did kill Will, which pisses Christina off because Christina was dating Will. Mm-hmm. And Christina's mad. Uriah's like, man, you did what you gotta do. And Tobias is like, wow, I can't believe you didn't tell me that. There's a lot of fighting in this book.
And nothing. a lot of fighting.
Nothing.
And nothing.
Yeah. Okay, trigger warning for suicide. Triss has a super weird moment after this truth serum where she goes up to the top of the building and does contemplate taking her own life, jumping off the building. And she thinks about how Al felt when he decided to take his own life, but decides she couldn't do that.
She's not weak like him.
then Tobias starts
I
this...
love that narrative.
Yeah, it's really cool. Tobias starts a big-ass fight about Triss, where he's like, you don't tell me anything. And she's like, you don't tell me anything. And he's like, well, like, you didn't tell me about Will. And he's like,
shut up.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, how would you go about telling me that you had to kill one of your best friends? And he's like, I just wish you trusted me. And she's like, I wish you trust. I just had to find out your fucking mom was alive. Like, this is a two-way street, buddy. And he's like, we just both don't seem to trust each other. And they have, like, a big fight. And Tobias goes on and pulls this rad fucking gaslight, super healthy relationship. He goes, sometimes it's just not easy to be with you, Triss.
Radical.
And she just goes, I'm sorry.
Then leave.
Well, and he goes, is that it? And she's like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'll try to be more honest. And then he literally walks away from her.
Radical. Girl must gatekeep.
After their fight, Lynn shows up to hang out with Triss. And they're like, hey, girl, hey, like, come vibe with us. And then, like, they're all hanging out. And then they decide to go to the John Hancock building to spy on the Erudite because they keep their lights on all the time. And Tobias is like, be careful and don't do anything stupid. And as they go to, like, go down there, another group of Dauntless, who are the traitor Dauntless, show up. And they start shooting, and she goes down. How many chapters do you think that was?
Another 7.
Another 7.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Like 4 things happened.
I know, and I condensed it. And it's like... I don't know. I don't mean to be mean. I really don't feel like a lot's going on in this book. And
she is falling victim to the second book slump, dog.
I know. And I get it. I do. But usually the second book slump doesn't happen the whole book.
Yeah.
There's a part that I was able to condense 10 chapters into like 4 paragraphs.
Yikes.
Okay. Let's keep going. How long do you think we're in the podcast too?
Fucking 5 hours.
30 minutes.
We're gonna have an ad break.
What? We don't have any money being made off of this. What do you mean?
Make up a fake product.
I can only think of Dr. Pepper because I'm looking at a Dr. Pepper can. There is literally nothing else to ever exist besides Dr. Pepper.
Professor?
We're gonna have to
Cayenne.
work. We're gonna have to work on our
Improv?
Well, I was gonna say pretend play for when our daughter's old enough to pretend.
We're not good at that.
So she didn't die, which sucks. But everyone around, that would have been a great, like, main character death. I would read that book.
Middle of the second book, yeah.
Wouldn't that be the thing? Everyone around her is unconscious but her. So she's like, okay, something's going on. I'm not unconscious because I'm divergent. This group of traitors starts, like, heading up the building to do things, and Eric's there. That's Macklemore. Mm-hmm. And Uriah and Triss both sit up. And she's like, holy shit, like, we're both divergent. We gotta go upstairs and see what's going on. And he's like, or we could not do that, and we could leave and protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Or
we could not die and go home.
Wouldn't that have been the thing? I'm gonna speed stuff up now. Because
I think we should, because this has been
it's only
bad.
been 30 minutes, and I'm like, ugh. And I feel like bad for even putting this out, but... So, her and Uriah, they get caught.
That says a lot that the books that we've done, that this is the first book where we're like, should we put this out?
I know. And we've put out some meh stuff.
Yeah. Some real mid shit.
So they immediately get caught. And Eric's like, I'm gonna kill this kid. This other random divergent kid.
Cool.
And Triss is like, and then the kid dies. And then she stabs Eric in the face.
Radical. At Eric's Macklemore.
Mm-hmm, yeah. All these people that got shot, they weren't shot with bullets. They were shot with basically like a big needle. Another simulation. But it's not going on yet.
Wait, so they got Trent gunned with a simulation.
Yeah. A long-acting simulation, they think.
And the simulation turns them into robots?
Well, we don't know what this new simulation does. So they all have this new simulation in them. And we learn Marcus survived because Marcus shows up with Peter and I'm pretty sure, and Caleb.
Every time you say Marcus, I think of Marcus Porcus.
I don't know what that means.
He's a TikTok guy. You haven't seen him? Mm-mm. He's a really old man that he like draws like kid drawings and his
that makes the shirts.
son turns them into shirts.
Yeah, that's cute. Then Triss and Tobias get into a fight because that's what this whole book is. And Candor leader is like, "Hey, Divergent, come on through." And Marcus is like, "I'm Divergent. You don't need to be scared of the Divergent."
This shirt is for the girlies that were born in September that did not assassinate JFK.
So Marcus tells everybody, "Hey guys, the Erudite want to kill all the Divergent." And the Candor leader's like, "Fake news. I'm going to meet with her and see what she says." They go to spy on this meeting because apparently they're the only Dauntless in the whole world that do this kind of stuff.
Radical.
And, before they do that, they, at dinner the night before, Tobias gets called a coward by some old Dauntless guy. And so he's like...
kisses him on the mouth.
No, he goes, "This needs to stop." And then calmly gets up and beats the absolute shit out of his dad in front of everybody, including whipping him with a belt, like Marcus used to beat Tobias.
Radical.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And then, at the meeting... Lynn, one of her friends, shoots Max, the Dauntless leader, who's there meeting with Jack, the Candor leader.
You're just names and actions, and none of it makes sense, and it all seems so boring.
Correct.
What's the big picture here? Because fuck this.
The big picture at this point is Erudite is meeting with Candor.
Which boys are those?
Erudite's smart, Candor's truth.
Okay.
And Erudite's like, "Hey, hand us over all the Divergent. We want to inject every single person in your compound that wasn't injected already. And also give us back Eric, who Triss stabbed, and they now have hostage."
Okay.
So that's what's happening right now. And then at this meeting, a different character shoots Max.
Dead?
Shoots him dead. And then later they're like, "Okay, cool guys, here's the thing." The Dauntless all get together. They're like, "We need to go back to the Dauntless headquarters.
Yeah.
And we need to have new leadership because we don't have any leadership now."
Mm-hmm.
So they choose some random guy named Harrison, Tori, the tattoo artist and person who did the very first simulation for Triss.
Yeah.
And Tobias. For some reason, someone's like, "Triss!" And Triss is like, "No, actually, no, not me.
I'm good."
I've literally been a part of..." The thing that also pisses me off about this book, besides the fact that I'm, like, super bored, is I cannot, for the life of me, figure out the timeline.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's been. At all.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So then they decide those are the new leaders. They go to where Eric's being held hostage, and they're like, "We have to kill him. We have to execute him." And Eric's like, "That's fine, as long as Tobias gets to do it, so that he has to hold the guilt forever." Then Eric dies. They have a paintball fight.
Toby kills Macklemore.
Tobias kills Macklemore, yeah. Then they have a paintball fight.
Radical.
Well, for the cameras and Dauntless.
Yeah.
To cover them so that they can't use the simulation on people. How far do you think we are on the book?
Fucking halfway.
Just about. Okay, so then Tobias is like, "Triss, come with me to a meeting between me and Evelyn." And they go, and Evelyn's like, "Hey, BT Dubs, we want an alliance. I would like to form an alliance with you." And Tobias is like, "Cool." And the conditions are equal places in the next government, destroy Erudite, and full control over the Erudite data to destroy it. So that's the new plot.
Okay, the Erudites are getting kicked out.
The Factionless and the Dauntless are joining together to destroy the Erudite. So they're like, "Cool beans. We also want to kill Janine Matthews, the leader of Erudite."
Cool.
Yeah. So Triss is like, I don't like this alliance. And they're like, cool, we're going to do it anyways. And then
Fuck off.
there's something that happens overnight. A simulation happens where 3 young people are in their simulation, and they're on top of the roof of the Dauntless Center. And the voice coming out of them is like, for every 2 days, if you don't give us a Divergent, we're gonna kill these kids, like a bunch of kids.
Radical.
And then the kids, one of them falls. And Triss is like, I'm not gonna let that happen. And Tobias is like, please don't do anything stupid. And Triss is like,
We have a plan. We'll set up night guards. Like,
that's literally, like, their plan is, like, we'll make sure all the cameras are good, we'll set up night guards, like, please don't do anything stupid. And she's like,
hey, we have this handled.
She's like, I'm absolutely gonna do something stupid. So she does, after promising Tobias not to do something stupid, because he's like, please, like, I am asking you, do not do this. It will break my heart. I will never recover. She's like, so she goes to Eurydite, and Janine is like, OMG, I'm so glad it's you, because you have 3 aptitudes. It's a lot of aptitudes.
That's more than one.
And this part's even more boring. Basically, she's, like, tortured for a little bit, like, in these simulations, and she's, like, solitary confinement and all that fun stuff.
These are just, like, VR-driven drug trips, right?
It kind of feels that way, yeah. It's really not, like... Nah. And, the only thing interesting that really happens during this is that we learn her brother Caleb has been working with the Eurydite the whole time. He's a traitor. And then Peter ends up helping her escape afterwards.
Traitor?
Traitor. I hardly know her.
I was gonna say that.
Dagnabbit. Snooze you lose, buddy. They head to Abnegation, where the Dauntless and the Factionless are getting ready to, attack Eurydite. And, they've been fighting the whole book, and Tobias and Triss are like, wow, we're each other's family now.
Okay.
Yeah. Her friends are super glad to see her. And then Marcus and Triss have a gab, and Marcus is like, you can't possibly understand how serious this information is. If we let them destroy Eurydite and get rid of this info, we are losing so much stuff. Blah, 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 blah.
It's like so much stuff on how to mind control people and kill them. So it's like, you don't really need that stuff, actually.
Yeah. Except for the stuff Marcus knows is different than that, because Marcus is like, the information we know is that we were placed here a while ago, and Abnegation was in charge of this information. And she's like, what do you mean placed here? And he's like, I can't tell you more than that. But I know you don't know, because you would, like, completely be a different person if you knew.
Yeah.
So the main group is like, we're gonna, like, the Dauntless, the Factionless are like, we're gonna go attack Eurydite. And Triss is like, that's cool. I'm gonna take Christina and Marcus, and we're gonna go to Amity. We're gonna grab some Amity folk.
Okay. The Amity is farmer boys?
Mm-hmm. So they grab the farmers. They come back.
Didn't they have a little red truck?
A little what?
A little red truck with a Christmas tree
I
in
always
it?
pictured a little red truck. I didn't really picture the Christmas tree, though. Idiot. They come back, and when they come back, fighting's going on. The war has started again.
Radical.
And they get into the Eurydite headquarters. The Eurydite is controlling a bunch of Candor people who've been injected with serum. And they're like human shielding. Yeah. Human shielding the whole compound with guns. And it's like children, everybody. It's like...
Cool.
And they fight, and they get in there. They get up to the top. Kids. They get up to the top, and Triss is like, has to fight herself in this one simulation, because simulation this, simulation that, serum this, serum that. And when she gets to Janine Matthews, Tori is already there, and Tori's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this. And she kills her.
This feels like 90% simulations.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a simulation talking about that. So Tori kills Janine and is like, hey, Triss is a traitor. And Tobias is like, OMG, you're a traitor. And Triss is like, no, trust me. And he's like, okay. So then
Cool.
she's down there. Lynn gets shot. Lynn's a lesbian.
Hell yeah.
Which is the only part of the book I remembered. The only part of the book I remembered when I read it when I was young was that she was a lesbian. Or at least not a straight person.
Of course they kill off the lesbian.
Yeah. And then Tobias is like, comes up after she's been arrested and is like, I trusted you. And then a video plays, and it's the information that they've been hinting at this whole time. What do you think the information is?
They were put there to see how autistic they can make in a community.
A woman shows up on the screen. She's like, hey guys, we've isolated your community. Everybody there has chosen to be there usually. Like, we're getting our memories erased. BT dubs, like, we're doing this because humans suck. All we do is murder. And we want to find, like, how we can make us suck less. And then she goes, my name's Evelyn Pryor, Triss's mom.
Yeah.
That's the end of the book.
Cool.
How do you feel?
I love it.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
And cool.
I really hope the next book is not as bad. I don't remember ever reading the last book. And they didn't make a movie on it either. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think we should just leave us a review.
And stop.
Not based on this episode,
Yes.
based on the other one.
If you want to skip this episode,
Yeah.
if you get this far in and just want to skip it.
Gatsby episode's really good.
Yep.
Hunger Games are pretty good. Twilight's were pretty good. Justin did not like... Who was it? Warrior Cats. I know number 4s were okay. This episode, not very good. And we're sorry about that.
Yeah.
But I can't in good conscience skip it because...
Okay. In good conscience or OCD?
No comment. Porque no los dos.
This baby's shitting.
Yeah. Anyways, leave us a review, not on this episode. My name's Blue. I love to read.
My name's Justin. I hate changing diapers.